All right, guys, it's Thursday. Lame joke Thursday. What do you get when you take $100 and you turn it into a penny? Like, can you see that? A penny. It's called Luna. That's how you can do it. It's so awesome, man. You can turn $100 into a penny. Isn't that crazy? All jokes aside, anyways, we're going to go ahead and talk about a couple of things in Luna, UST, what happened, what can we learn from this, and what can we do to do better. Come on, guys. I know it's not fun seeing numbers on a screen go down, but there's things more important in life than numbers on a screen. Actually, just close the screen, look up, look around, and you'll be like, what the snap? There's some like serious altcoin gems out there. Like you can see all the people there. Talk to them. They're pretty cool. Anyways, let me go ahead and show you guys a couple of charts. Luna, wow, what the snap? That's a sight to see, man. Like this thing literally went from $100 to 0.3 cents. Good news is though, ETH went to $10,000 and Bitcoin went to $100,000, which was really cool. As you guys can see here, it actually went to $137,000. That's a pretty good trade. That's awesome. And USD is sitting around 50 cents. All right, so let's go and get into the 4 most important lessons to be learned from this. The first is just because they call it a stable coin does not mean it's stable. You need to understand what collateral is backing it, and even when it has collateral backing it, it can still be exploited. What do I mean by this? Well, unfortunately, on the blockchain, everything is transparent, and you really need to be careful. If you can see that a certain asset just holds a bunch of a certain token, that token can be manipulated in order to create it to go into a death spiral because people lose confidence in the coin and sell. Let me explain what I mean by this. Let's say, for example, we have DAI. And DAI, this actually happened to them when they were only backed by ETH. Let's say we have the DAI stablecoin. Now, it's only stable as long as it's got equal buy and sell pressure to equalize that. But if everyone's looking to sell, that coin's going to zero. It doesn't matter what you say. Everyone presses that red button to go sell, it goes to zero. So you have to incentivize people in order to, well, buy and repay their debt. That's how these CDP vaults work. Being on the blockchain and having transparency and being able to see exactly all the assets that are backing some of these things. And a market manipulator, what they can do is say, all right, your backing is ETH. So what I can do is I can short the ETH asset and cause a cascading event of liquidations, which cause the debt to become underwater for the DAI stablecoin. This is just an example for DAI. Now, there are other stable coins out there that have different tokens behind them. Luna was a whole different animal. They were completely algo. So there was no backing. In fact, it was even a worse of a correlation. You are now correlated to Luna. So what will happen is Luna needs to be sold after it is minted from burning $1 worth of UST, which further causes the depeg. Because you have more Luna being minted, so it's additional supply on the market, and you have more Luna that's being sold. So you're having sell pressure as well as additional inflation. That's not good for equalization of supply and demand. Now, it is also good on the other side when it is burning the Luna, but hey, you can't always have it all. So the first is make sure you understand how it's stable. Now, this isn't saying that everything is stable, even when you have like a centralized stablecoin like USDC or USDT. There are government actors out there that are going to be going after these stablecoins. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if you want to be in crypto, look for the big chip assets, especially until this market settles. Usually with what you see with things like this, it has completely different ramifications for everything else, and it kind of foretells what's about to happen. Just take that for what you will. Second, diversification is key. Now, if you were holding Luna, if you're holding UST, or if you're holding Luna altcoins, or if you were holding LPs that were paired with UST or Luna, or even assets that were backed by UST or Luna, as in part of their CDP vaults, all of these things are going to be affected. So you have to understand what is your diversification. If you're, let's say for example, you like Curve, but you like Convex too. Well, Curve and Convex are literally the same exact thing because Convex buys Curve. Now, they aren't 100% the same exact thing, but they are tied to the same narrative and they're tied to the same token pairs. So diversification is key. Third, there is always something you cannot calculate that will happen. That's why it's super important to diversify just in case. There's always that black swan event. And if you throw any and everything at it, great if it does a 100x, 200x, 300x, I don't care. But you have a serious problem if it doesn't work out. So there's always something that can happen that you don't calculate. They call them black swans. Fourth, rebalancing the portfolio is key. When you have a token that takes up 40, 50, 60, 70% or even more of the portfolio, especially if it's a smaller altcoin, be careful. Because that means if that token goes to zero, you lose everything. I mean, everything. Now, if you think you were diversified holding Luna and UST, in theory, you are actually holding the same assets because they're both correlated with each other. So rebalancing the portfolio is key. Let's sum up the 4 things. Just because it's stable doesn't mean it's stable. Diversification is key. There's always something you cannot calculate. Always factor in there's such thing as a black swan event, so be careful. Fourth, rebalancing the portfolio is key. I know the markets are tough, but look for a long-term approach, especially looking at the Mayweathers, and be careful when looking at altcoins. Crypto is risky, Bitcoin is risky, Ethereum is risky, DeFi is risky. It is a risky industry. Don't invest more than you're willing to lose. Let's hit you guys with that wisdom one-liner. Proverbs chapter 15, verses 4. The soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. I know a lot of people were hurt with Luna, and I saw some stuff on Twitter. It was just like, man, this is not the type of people we are. People were literally, after people were laying on the floor, they were just basically kicking them in the nuts, and it was like, dude, the guy is already hurting. Don't be like, I told you so. I mean, just be like, dude, you made a bad decision. Let's do better next time. We're humans. We're people. It is what it is. I mean, of course, it's called crypto college for a reason, guys. It's the cost of tuition. You learn a lot of valuable lessons. At least it's with small money compared to what it'll be in the future. See you guys in the next one.